Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport. The airport team strives to make air travel accessible to all through the Sunflower program, allowing individuals to self-identify when they need more assistance. More on the Hidden Disability Sunflower program at CIRA.com.
McLean County's YWCA is making childcare a little more accessible for Bloomington families. That's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Tuesday, September 10th. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Let's lead off with new, free childcare opportunities through a Bloomington-based nonprofit. WGLT's Melissa Ellen reports YWCA McLean County has launched 2 free services.
YWCA McLean County has been offering child care in the area since 1970. Now it's making before and after school care free for the low-income families of Sheridan Elementary School in West Central Bloomington. YWCA staff can get free child care as well. The YWCA's Melissa Braden says both services are offered through the nonprofit's Young Wonders program.
We historically pivot based on the needs of our community, and childcare has been a huge need for families in our community.
During the pandemic, YWCA started offering half-off childcare to teachers in Unit 5 and District 87. They still have the policy in place. Anna Trimpe is a teacher at Kingsley Junior High School who enrolled her son this school year.
There were a couple others that I looked at in town, but they were either, short on hours, or I'd have to rush out of work at the end of the day, or they cost more than the Y.
Melissa Braden with YWCA says the organization is looking for people to staff its Young Wonders program so they can cater to more youth. She adds that the Sheridan program benefits the whole family, as parents and guardians are enrolled in a monthly class to discuss things like budgeting and job hunting. I'm Melissa Ellen.
Here's some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. A man whose body was found in recycling materials at Midwest Fiber in Normal last week has been identified. McLean County Coroner Kathy Yoder says the 34-year-old man was Dion Macklin from Springfield. His cause of death is still under investigation. State lawmakers are working to push stronger gun storage legislation when they return to Springfield this fall. Current law requires locked storage of a gun if there's a person 13 years or younger in the home. A bill would raise that age limit to 18. American Idol star Leah Marlene has been added to the lineup of ISU's homecoming concert. Marlene will open for Canadian indie pop band Peach Pit. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. A cancer surgeon in Normal says a new study showing rising cancer rates among young adults should serve as a call to action. That study shows Generation X and millennials have higher rates of cancer than older adults among 17 types of cancer. Maddie Francois is a surgeon at the Carle Cancer Institute in Normal. In this edition of Sound Health, Francois tells WGLT's Eric Stock that a majority of those 17 cancer types are linked to obesity.
We've been talking for a long time about the obesity epidemic and how it has progressively gone from affecting adults to adolescents to children. And the earlier onset of exposure is leading to earlier onset of development of malignancies that we know are related to obesity. The other that I found really interesting is that the study looked at 2 different things. It looked at the incidence of these diseases, meaning the likelihood that they are going to be present in the population, and then the deaths associated with those malignancies. And in some of the malignancies, the incidence and the death rates were accruing at the same rate, which tells us that people are getting these cancers, and then we are not having as success at keeping them from dying from the cancers as we did in older populations.
And why is that?
It's difficult to know, but sometimes we theorize that when younger people develop malignancies, sometimes the malignancies they develop are more aggressive than those of the older population, almost as if your body in its young, healthy state can't keep you from developing this life-threatening illness, that something is wrong with the makeup of that person in some way, or they've had exposure to something much earlier on that has allowed this disease process to be more aggressive than it would have been in, let's say, a person who developed it in their 70s, for example.
That sounds counterintuitive.
It does. It does sound counterintuitive, because you would think that a younger person should be able to battle these things better. And while they do tolerate treatments better because they have a tendency of recovering from things better, when you are diagnosed with a more aggressive type of cancer, you tend to not do as better. Like my specialty is in breast cancer, so I know a lot about that. And we know that when young patients are diagnosed with breast cancer, there is a much higher percentage and prevalence of more aggressive types of breast cancer, like triple negative breast cancers, for which our treatments have improved significantly, but we still are not able to get the same mortality rates as we are with better behaved breast cancers.
Are you seeing that anecdotally in your practice, where younger and younger patients are being diagnosed with breast cancer?
I do. I would say anecdotally, I do see that. I was actually just having a conversation about that with my staff not long ago, is that on average, we still see more patients that are older that have breast cancer. But I haven't been out of my general surgery training for that long. I've been out of training for about 6 years. And I can say that as time has gone on and I've cared for more and more and more of the women in this community, I have noticed that their ages are decreasing, that they're coming to me younger and younger, in their 30s, in their 40s, in their early 50s, as opposed to their late 50s, 60s, 70s.
So pulling back the lens, referring to all cancer types once again, at least those that came up in the survey, how much of it do you believe then is a product of their physical health and being healthy overall and being in shape?
All of it. I think it is. I think a lot of the times we want there to be a really specific cause for why this is happening. We want medicine and science to be able to say, it's the aspartame in our Diet Coke. That's why all of us are getting cancers. But it ends up being very complex and very multifactorial, because it comes down to the fact that our body's not functioning in sync how they're supposed to comes from offenses that they receive. The more unhealthy and the longer that we live unhealthy, the more at risk we are putting ourselves into developing diseases.
That was Maddie Francois from the Carl Cancer Institute in Normal, speaking with WGLT's Eric Stock. You can hear the rest of their conversation tonight at 5 on WGLT's news magazine, Sound Ideas.
Support for WGLT health coverage comes from Carl Health. You can count on Carl as your partner in healthcare. Information at carl.org.
Before we let you go, the Bloomington Liquor Commission meets today at 4 at the Government Center. On the agenda are requests for a change of ownership for 2 downtown businesses, Rosie's and Killarney's. And that's it for today. I'm Ryan Denham. The show's produced by Rosalie Truback. You can subscribe to The Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.